switch gears by a lot and play a deck. This is just a personal favorite of mine, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself that I haven't brought this deck on stream yet. This is just far and away my favorite. This was my first modern love. Well, after eggs, but I loved eggs. This is KikiChord. If you're not familiar with KikiChord, the objective is to have KikiChiki and Restoration Angel on the battlefield at the same time. You can tap Restoration Angel to create a copy of Restoration Angel. Did I say that right? You can tap KikiChiki to create a copy of Restoration Angel. The Restoration Angel will exile KikiChiki and bring it back to the battlefield. Because Kiki has haste, you just make another copy of Restoration Angel, and then another one, and then another one, and you just keep going until you have as many Restoration Angels you want, and you attack your opponent for lethal damage. A lot of people, when they hear KikiChord, they think that this deck is just all about assembling that combo. It's really not. You're really just playing this like sort of green-white with some other colors, just kind of mid-rangey deck. You're doing stuff. You're just playing like efficient creatures. You're playing Voice of Resurgences. You're playing a value game with Eternal Witness, getting back, Voice of Resurgences that die. You're drawing cards with Wall of Omens. You're, Scavenging Ooze is an efficient card. Restoration, just like as a 3/4 flyer, is fine. It can also rebuy something with Eternal Witness. It can save a creature from a removal spell. It can just do all kinds of stuff. And so there are plenty of games where you just win. You win the game just by grinding your opponent out of resources and attacking with a Restoration Angel for 4 turns. There's also, being a Chord of Calling deck. So we're playing Chord of Calling. Chord of Calling just lets you be extremely flexible in everything the deck is doing. The kind of obvious thing is that you can kind of chord for these combo pieces. You can actually assemble the entire chord with one single Chord of Calling. You Chord of Calling for 3, you get an Eternal Witness, you get the Chord of Calling back into your hand. Then the next turn, ideally on your opponent's end step if they tap out, you can Chord of Calling for a Restoration Angel. Restoration Angel blinks the Eternal Witness gets back the Chord of Calling, then you untap, and then on your upkeep, if you don't have access to triple red, you need to chord on your upkeep in case you draw the KikiChiki, but you chord for KikiChiki, which then goes off with the combo. But you can also just Chord of Calling, like when you have access to Chord of Calling, you can just put all kinds of 1/ofs in your deck. You can put in a Knight of Autumn for to kill any pesky artifacts or enchantments. You can gain life against burn. Is it Staticaster is good against all sorts of decks. One of my personal favorite things to do with Is it Staticaster is to target a phantasmal image out of humans, or sometimes spirits, I think, runs that. But you can just target it and it dies. If you need some value, you can just chord out a Tireless Tracker or a Courser Crufix to get you some card advantage. You can chord out a Fairgrounds Warden as a sort of pseudo removal spell. You can chord out a Phyrexian Invoker if there's some planeswalking you need to shut down. You can chord out a Shalage to protect your creatures. There's a lot of things that Chord of Calling can do. The other thing, and this is very much one of sort of my innovations or things I'm trying out, is Prime Speaker Vannifar. Prime Speaker Vannifar also has a combo that lets you get out Kiki. It's actually Kiki Bounding Crisis. It fills a similar role. There's a lot of Prime Speaker Vannifar decks out there that run 4 Prime Speaker Vannifar, and they're just very focused on trying to assemble the combo and just kill the opponent. And so if you don't, there's a whole chain where you start with a Birds of Paradise and you go into a Scrib Ranger, and then you use the Scrib Ranger to untap the Prime Speaker Vannifar, so you get a Bounding Crisis. Bounding Crisis untaps the Prime Speaker Vannifar. Actually, sorry, it's Scrib Ranger into Renegade Rallier. Renegade Rallier gets back the Scrib Ranger. Scrib Ranger untaps Vannifar. Then you go Scrib Ranger into Bounding Crisis, untap Vannifar. Then you go Renegade Rallier into Restoration Angel, bounce the Bounding Crisis, untap the Prime Speaker. Then you go Restoration Angel into KikiChiki, and then you have KikiChiki Bounding Crisis, which is a combo. The reason I'm including the Vannifar is specifically that you can chord for it. Being able to chord out KikiChiki and Restoration Angel on their own turns out to take quite a bit of time. Modern's a pretty fast format. You don't always have time for that. It also just requires a bit of a board presence. You're not going to have 8 lands to cast all that. You need to have some creatures like some Wall of Roots or some Voice of Resurgence out to convoke that high. But whereas if you can just ever chord out a Prime Speaker Vannifar when your opponent's tapped out, you can kind of just win the game on the spot, is the idea. I've played with Prime Speaker Vannifar a little bit, and I've had a hard time kind of getting it to work out that way in practice, but I'm still kind of trying it out. The other thing I'm trying right now is I'm trying Yorion. I have not played this deck since Ikoria was out, and since Companions were the thing that just every deck was doing in Modern. But I have really wanted to try Yorion this deck for a few reasons. One is that when you're running a lot of 1 and 2 ofs in a deck, as the 60 card version of KikiChord does, you actually lose very little by adding extra 20 cards to your deck. So like the only cards in the regular 40 card 60 card version of KikiChord, and this is kind of an older list, but the only cards that I'm running 4 of are Path to Exile, Birds of Paradise, and Chord of Calling. And so if you're not running 4 of something, then you can just add more cards. So like for instance, going from 60 card Kiki to 80 card Kiki, you can see I went from 2 Voice of Resurgence to 3, and that's just a change that you can make that like the ratios of the cards in your deck are pretty much identical. The only things you lose out are the relative lower percentage of Path to Exile, Birds of Paradise, and Chord of Calling in your deck. And for those for Birds of Paradise, I can just add more Noble Hierarchs, which are pretty similar. I like Birds of Paradise over Noble Hierarch because Noble Hierarch does not tap for red, which you kind of want for Kiki. But it's still pretty close to Birds of Paradise. For Chord of Calling, we can add some extra Eldritch Evolution. Eldritch Evolution and Chord of Calling are very different cards, and I'm not going to get too far into the difference, but you can add extra Eldritch Evolutions to get out the combo pieces you want. Path to Exile. Path to Exile is definitely the thing that is hurt the most by Kiki going up to 80 cards. But I still think that just having access to a Yorion in the sideboard is worth it. It's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to put the whole sideboard back on one screen. It's definitely not, this deck is not like perfectly built for Yorion. There are not a lot of Yorion decks. You want a whole lot of Enter the Battlefield cards. A lot of the Yorion decks that were popular in the heyday of Companions, they ran things like Astrolabe, which is now banned. They ran I don't even remember what. Just a lot of cards you can blink, Omen of the Sea, stuff like that. A lot of permanents that are just going to cantrip on the Battlefield Oath, and this is that sort of thing. And I don't have that many of those. I put in a Wall of Omens, so I have one. And you can do cute things like you can reset the counters on your Wall of Roots. You can reset what Phyrexian Revoker is naming. Eternal Witness is a big one. Getting back a card from your graveyard is great. Fairgrounds Warden, you can switch Fairgrounds Warden to targeting another card. You can Restoration Angel to double up on an Eternal Witness or something. You can get another Knight of Autumn trigger. There's like definitely things you can do. Renegade Rallier is always going to be active if you blink it. So there's definitely things you can do, but you don't maximize Yorion as much as you might in other decks. But I'm still interested in trying it just because, like I said, the disadvantage of going up to 80 cards in this deck is so much lower. So I feel like you really just don't pay a whole lot to do this. We are, as you might have noticed, we are running up to 5 colors. Some of that is just for like very splash cards like Prime Speaker of Vannifar, also just black, like a single Plague Engineer in the sideboard and a single Sin Collector. Sin Collector, great to blink with Yorion. This is all very much a work in progress. Like I've had the core of the deck down. By the way, I've played this deck for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years on and off. I just love this deck. It's so much fun, and it's so much fun to tweak and refine. And you can just totally make it your own. You can put in your own favorite one-ofs. Revelark is just one of my personal favorite one-ofs. It just does so many fun things. You can Revelark back Eternal Witnesses, and it just kind of goes crazy. This is my baby, and I love it. And I don't know how great it is in the meta right now. I think the meta is, well, I don't know. We'll find out. We're going to run through a league with it and see how it goes. But a lot of the specific card choices right now still very much things we're experimenting with. I could talk about this deck all day. But by all means, if anybody has any questions specifically about the deck, feel free to... if you're seeing this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. I'll totally get back to you if you're in Twitch chat, or if you see this, by all means, I'm happy to talk to you too. So this is KikiChord featuring Yorion, and we're going to run through a league with that. That is the deck we want to use. Join. People kind of poo-poo KikiChord. Like I said, I've played it for several years. I've done well with it. I've had 10-5 finishes at GPs with it. It definitely has some weak matchups. Straight Tron is a very bad matchup, just in the same sort of way that Tron beats Jund. Tron also beats KikiChord. Also, any sort of Valakut deck I tend to have a hard time with. Lands are just not an axis I can fight on very well. I do have a Magus of the Moon in the sideboard, but you don't always get to that. I've also had trouble more recently with straight-up blue-white control. I used to think that blue-white control was a pretty decent matchup for me. This was before Jace the Mind Sculptor was unbanned, and before they printed Teferi 5-mana Teferi. It's just hard for me to attack those creatures effectively, and if they get those cards out, they can just sort of grind out the card advantage. It used to be that when they ran fewer sources of card advantage, I was able to just grind them out with Eternal Witnesses and Blinking Eternal Witness and stuff like that. Nowadays, it's a lot harder, and they can just get a Planeswalker out and grind out a lot of advantage with it. So we are playing Companion in Modern. This is not something that I've seen a whole lot of people do since the Companion nerf. This hand is fine. We only have 2 lands, which is not ideal, but we're on the draw. We have plays before 3 mana. One of the interesting things about KikiChord is whether or how many of these sorts of silver bullets you put in your main deck. Like I have Phyrexian Revoker. Phyrexian Revoker definitely not relevant in all matchups. But the times that you have access to it when you need it in game 1 are just so valuable. One thing I'm just kind of a personal fan of is running Eidolon of Rhetoric in my main deck. That's maybe a holdover from an old meta, back when Storm used to be more popular. But it's great against Storm. It's great against, it does things against Ad Nauseam. It does things against any sort of Cascade deck. It does things against any sort of Snapcaster deck. It's just solid. So we're up against Blue-Black Mill, and we are hilariously running a Yorion deck. So that's kind of good for us. We're going to fetch now just to make sure that we get the lands that we want before they get milled. You almost always want to get green-white to lead off. So we're just going to go with that. So we are going to be getting milled a lot. Getting milled a lot may also mean that we may not have access to the... Oh, Archive Trap. Should have considered that. Do you have more? No? Okay. Sure. Breeding Pool. So on the one hand, I would really like to play this Tireless Tracker when I can play a fetch land on the next turn, but, well, it might actually still be worth it. We're giving our opponent chances to draw into more Archive Traps. But I think that's fine. Also, Renegade Rallier actually lets us get something back pretty easily. Looks like the only thing we can get back is a Noble Hierarch or a Voice of Resurgence. I'd be fine with a Voice. I think in order to trigger the Revolt on this next turn, I'm gonna wait and play the Wooded Foothills in the next turn. So I am gonna pay 2 life. I'm gonna play this Phyrexian Revoker. And it's kind of interesting what to name. We could name a fetch land. I'm actually gonna name Field of Ruin. Oh, it's a non-land card name. Yes. Yes. In that case, I don't really know what to name. Don't know too much what... I can't think of anything that this deck would play. It runs Hedron Crabs, it runs Mesmeric Orbs, it runs Glimpse the Unthinkable. Might like run Relic. I'm just gonna name Relic of Progenitus. I don't think that's too likely to hit, but I don't think there's anything this deck runs that's this is going to be useful against. And if you're going to play this deck, you really need to stay up on the meta. I have not. I really should swap out at least probably 4 or 5 cards between the main board and the main deck and the sideboard, just to be playing the right silver bullets. This is definitely kind of an old list. Get back a Selfless Spirit. Get back Scavenging Ooze. That might be good. Okay, so we're gonna play this. I think what we're getting back is the Scavenging Ooze, right? It's converted mana cost 2 or less. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna attack. Scavenging Ooze can also grow pretty big, which, like, we're just kind of racing here. Do we need double white for anything? Our life total doesn't matter, so we're just gonna get... I think we actually get Sacred Foundry. Just to make sure we have a red source. That way, Firelit Thicket. Firelit Thicket's in our graveyard. I still think it's Sacred Foundry. It gets double white and our first red. Yes, I would like to pay 2 life. Then we're going to play this Renegade Rallier. And this Renegade Rallier is going to get back... I'm just going to make sure there's nothing else I wanted. It's going to get back Scavenging Ooze. Cool. And so next turn, so we have 7 power on the board, so next turn we'll be able to attack for 8, and then 8 the turn after. I think I like that. That seems like the play. We have 35 cards in our deck. Thank goodness we're playing Yorion, otherwise we would have 15, which would definitely be a bit hairier. Courser of Krufix. Okay, so is there any chance that I want to eat 3 cards? That would make this an attack for 10. No, I think that's fine. I think I would rather just play this Voice in case you want to cast some spell this turn. You don't, so I think I just want to eat a... whatever. Eat one of our 3 Eternal Witnesses. Then attack for 8. Opponent at 7. It's also worth noting that we had a Quarter Calling in our hand this turn. Our Shalai is in the graveyard. Shalai gives us Hexproof, which can definitely be useful against this deck. You know, Glimpse, target player mills 10 cards. Archive Trap, target player mills 13. So Shalai is a good card to get into play. Spell's Guide I don't think going to be super relevant. We're going to put Loaming Shaman in, because Loaming Shaman can just put our entire graveyard back into our deck. That could be pretty good. Anything else relevant here? Meddling Mage could be okay. I think we also just want to look at what we might want to be taking out. I think Fairgrounds Warden can come out. Like, our opponent may definitely bring some cards in, so I want to have access to, I think, some paths. Actually, I think I would sooner take out, like... maybe 2 paths. Being able to just having access to be able to chord for a removal spell is just a good deal. Sometimes these decks run like Jace's Phantasm. I don't need this Eidolon of Rhetoric. I don't need this as a Staticaster. I'm happy to leave in the Prime Speaker Vanifar combo. One thing you'll often do is you'll take out the Vanifar combo, just because Scrib Ranger is such a crappy card on its own. Revoker's not doing anything. So I think the Meddling Mage will come in. I think Kitchen Finks will come in just because it's a cheap attacker. Things that just sort of attack efficiently, I'm kind of interested in. Grim Lovemancer will always have food, so I'm kind of interested in that. I might be okay bringing in the Sin Collector. Wall of Omens is not doing much. I think just like bringing in a card that can attack over a card that can't is fine. This all looks decent to me. Linval is a card I could consider bringing in. Maybe Linval over Restoration Angel. For Thrun. I think this is fine. I am still highly amused that we are playing 80 cards against the mill deck. This is unfortunate for our opponent. This is fine. We birds ramp into things. Yeah. Totally fine. The Ravaging Ravine is kind of annoying. Would I like to pay 2 life? Yes. The Raging Ravine is a little annoying because we're going to play Finks on turn 2, then maybe Eternal Witness the turn after that if our opponent mills us out or something. Okay. It's a Mesmeric Orb. Okay. It's going to mill a bunch of cards over several turns, but That's okay. Meddling Mage. I'm actually kind of interested in that Meddling Mage. If I could cast that Meddling Mage this turn, I would, and I would name Archive Trap, because next turn our opponent can Field of Ruin and then cast all their Archive Traps. I was hoping to not cast my Wooded Foothills for a while because of that, but as it is, I think I just need to cast my Kitchen Finks and start applying pressure. It's possible I should have cracked my Wooded Foothills now, because on later turns I'll have access to... because they're going this turn... I guess they don't have to Field of Ruin this turn. Basically, they have at on demand one time when they can use Field of Ruin. Casting something for 3 mana. What is this? Oh, is this like Fraying Sanity? Ashiok. Okay, okay. Well, that's relevant. Okay. You just always yield to these triggers. Ooh. I want that Loaming Shaman. I really want that Loaming Shaman. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to play this. So we can fetch, play the Wall of Roots, and then play the Eternal Witness. Yeah, we're going to do that. Oh, I can't do that. Oops. Well, I wasn't going to get to do that anyway. So I can still just... Yeah, Modern. It's crazy, am I right? So we're going to get back this Loaming Shaman, because that's a card. We don't want that to get exiled to the Ashiok. They might have a Surgical Extraction. This would definitely be a time to use Surgical Extraction. Because that Loaming Shaman... it's just so funny when your deck just randomly hoses somebody. It's just kind of awesome. Anyway. So that's KikiChord. I love this deck. Yeah. I did definitely mess up by cracking a fetch into the Ashiok. That's, yeah. It's one of those things that, you know, because I haven't played the format a whole lot since, like, even in the last year or so, just one of those interactions that you kind of have to walk into once or twice to, like, learn. Where am I going in? This is a fine hand. Bounty Crisis, Resto, yeah, Scavenging Ooze. Can't complain. We're playing against Dank Cookies 84. Okay. Our opponent has mulliganed to 6. We will play Temple Garden untapped. We will cast a Birds of Paradise. Next turn. Well, we're gonna see what our opponent's on. If our opponent's on like Burn or something, if they're playing like a Goblin Guide, I might be able to ambush a Goblin Guide with the Bounding Creases. Looks like this could be Jund. This could be some sort of Death Shadow deck. Unclear. Thinking they might take the Scavenging Ooze here. It's hard to say. I really don't know what they're doing. I feel like if they're playing either Jund or Death Shadow, I feel like are both going to use their graveyard to some extent. They chose the Bounding Crisis. Okay. They may have just picked that because it's the card that... it's just the card that makes sense for me to be playing on turn 3. So they want to make me make the most mana inefficient play possible. Maybe. I don't really know. They do know I have the Restoration Angel, though, so they'll be playing around that. I still don't really know what my opponent's on. This is looking like Death Shadow. Oh, goblins? I guess. Okay, okay. Okay, respect. Respect. Okay, so is this goblins? It has to just be goblins, right? I think I just put Yori in my hand. It's possible I should have eaten creatures. At this point, I think I just put Yori in my hand. Yeah, I think I definitely should have played the land and attacked, and if my opponent didn't block, I should have pumped. Yeah, it's definitely just straight up the Goblins deck. Okay, that's a Goblin Chieftain. That's fine. Okay. Our opponent knows about the first Restoration Angel, so we're probably not gonna like get him. I like Fairgrounds Warden here. I don't even know if our opponent runs Bolt. I think they just run Tarfire. Is that right? I kind of just want to eat the Goblin Chieftain and attack with Scavenging Ooze. I can even eat something and make it a 3/3. The Munitions Expert is only going to be a 1/1. Seems like we'd be in a good place. Is that better? Is that better than just playing a Restoration Angel? Not really sure. Like, if our opponent has another Munitions Expert, if we try to Resto, they could just, like, play land munition. They could just play Goblin Munitions Expert. But then they could do that to kill a Fairgrounds Warden, and we're just taking something with haste. So I kind of like just, you know, representing the card they know. Feels kind of dull, but that's fine. And now I really wish this was like a 4/4. But, oh well. Okay, Cavern Goblin, fine. This is a deck I want to try out at some point too. The Goblins deck has looked pretty cool. I don't know if it's like the best deck out there, but it just looks fun, definitely. Sling Gang Lieutenant. Okay. So that's an attack for 10. That's kind of scary. Okay. Well, we're gonna get a Plains. We're gonna blink the Scavenging Ooze. I'm not sure if we're gonna block with it. So this is definitely happening, and I want to block the actual creature so that I can eat it with the Scavenging Ooze. I don't think I need to trade off the Scavenging Ooze. I mean, I can also just eat creatures with it. Like, yeah, I'm just not interested in trading this off. Yeah, I definitely need to be careful about, like, my opponent can just sack this to deal me 4, and I'm going to 8. So, like, I'm at a virtual 4 right now, which is kind of scary. But I think I can Fairgrounds eat the Sling Gang Lieutenant, and I feel like I'm in kind of decent shape. Thragtusk. Wish I had another land. Okay. So my options are Resto. feel like I just don't want this Slinging Lieutenant in play. What happens... So if I Fairground the Lieutenant, what happens? If they have another Slinging, that's a virtual 6. And the attack will kill me. But I would be dead to anything. So yeah, I think we just do this. We eat the Slinging. We can profitably block everything. And I think I want to be playing defensive here, especially since I have a Thragtusk in play. This can just gain me a whole bunch of life. Give me 5, and then Resto can blink it again. I want to... Like, what happened? Like, if they have a Goblin Chieftain, and they have 4 3/3s, I gotta stay back on defense. There's a lot of reasons to want this ooze back. Hopefully I draw a land and then I can start actually attacking with these Resto Angels. I'm kind of not certain that eating the Slinging was the right call. If I'd eaten the Goblin Chieftain instead, then my opponent's attacks are very bad. But I'm also just very close to virtually dying. Dying to sacrificing goblins. Okay, Goblin Matron. It's gonna get something. Might get a Munitions Expert. Oh gosh, Munitions Expert hit the Fairgrounds Warden. Yep, that's the line. Okay, okay. Maybe this was the wrong line then, because I just gave you more creatures. This is 2, 4, 6, 8. This is. I mean, yeah, I'm dead. Okay. I think I ate the wrong thing, or I think I misplayed somehow. I'm not entirely sure how, but I don't think that was good. Kitchen Finks comes in. Plague Engineer definitely comes in. Stoner Dignitary might come in. Keranos might come in. Spellskite might come in. What do I not like? I don't need Eidolon Rhetoric. That card's just kind of come out of the deck. I don't need... Phyrexian Revoker is actually good against Slinging Lieutenant. A lot of these cards look pretty good. I don't know if I need the Vannifar combo. I think if we're just operating on... I think I can outgrind this Goblin's deck. I think I'm going to do pretty well there. So I think those can come out. Do I want all this? Do I want all this? I think it's fine. I would like to go first. I would like to reveal my Yorion. This hand looks solid. I should play Overgrown Tomb first in order to play my Birds of Paradise. Next turn will be Wall of Roots Raging Ravine, unless I need to like path something. You're going to Tarify my birds. So sad. In which case I will not play the Raging Ravine. I will play the Sacred Foundry so that I can play the Wall of Roots. Log War Marshal, sure. Now we'll have a Scavenging Ooze. We'll play this. We will play... Take this, tap this, cast a Scavenging Ooze. Pass turn. Next turn I like Chord of Calling for Plague Engineer. Seems like a solid play. We'll see what my opponent plays. I mean, you can definitely get Tar Fired. Sure. What are you searching up? You revealed that Tar Fired to me already. Snoop is a 2/2. Okay. So my opponent can't play Snoop into Harbinger. Yeah, this is fine. Done. Plague Engineer. Goblin. I should play my land, except it doesn't matter because my opponent scooped. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Plague Engineer, doing things. Getting things done. So, I have this theory with this deck I'll kind of get into. There's three ways that KikiChord can win a game. You can combo off with Kiki Resto. It's kind of the obvious way. It's the way the deck is named for. That's number one. Number two is you can just play a mid-rangey game. You play efficient creatures. You get stuff back with Eternal Witness. You gain card advantage. You Resto Blink your Eternal Witnesses. You get 2 creatures out of Voice of Resurgence. You just play a very mid-rangey game and you win the game eventually. That's way number 2. Way number 3 is by chording out some Silver Bullet that just kind of wins the game on the spot. You chord out Eidolon of Rhetoric against Storm. That one's a little rougher because any pair combo deck is always going to have hate for your hate. But by and large, like chording out a Silver Bullet and protecting it. Getting out a Collector Oof against, there are not many artifact decks around now. I think most of them have been banned into oblivion, or at least banned to the point that no one plays them anymore. You chord out, Eidolon of Rhetoric against Storm. You chord out, in this case, Plague Engineer against Goblins. And just chording out that Silver Bullet just sort of wins you that game. It is important with this deck to know what your game plan is, how you're going to win the game. In this case, I had the I know that Chord of Calling for Plague Engineer is a very powerful thing that's probably going to win me that game. It's not guaranteed, but it seems pretty good. What am I throwing back here? This Staticaster is really awkward because this Windswept Heath, I guess it can get Stomping Grounds, but this Birds of Paradise has to live in order for the Staticaster to do anything, which is not a guarantee. I don't know what to put back is really the thing. I'd really like to keep both of these accelerants. Doesn't really matter if I'm not accelerating into anything, though. I think I put the Wall of Roots back. It's really sketchy keeping this as a Staticaster when I don't know that it's going to be able to stick around. Yeah, you have a Tarfire. That's irritating. I'm going to go for this anyway. So the three ways you can win a match with this deck: you combo off, you play the mid-rangey game, or you tutor for some silver bullet. Obviously, like option 3 is not going to be available in every match. Like you're not going to tutor for a silver bullet against like Jund. They shocked and they didn't tarfire the birds. That's interesting. Sure. But it's important to keep your mind open to how you're going to win the game, and also be willing to change what you think the way that you're going to win the game is as the game goes on. Like, for instance, you may decide, even in the matchup, so like if you have been playing against Tron, I mentioned against Tron that Tron is one of your worst matchups, but the way that you're generally going to win against Tron is by comboing off. You need to try to put the combo together before they can land whatever their haymaker is. You can kind of tutor for a silver bullet or two to like try to slow them down. You can chord for like a Phyrexian Revoker to hit their Karn Liberated or something. Usually you're gonna get their Karn under your Phyrexian Revoker if you're chording for it, but you do what you got to do. So I guess I path this, but like they're just gonna play another one, but it might slow you down by a turn. So, yeah. I also I want to be Eternal Menacing. Probably back a Windswept Teeth. Not really sure what this is going to be. It also shuffled away there. Yeah, okay. Fortunately, I don't have land. But so if you know as you're going into the game against Tron that you want your game plan to be to combo off, they had another Snoop anyway. Then that informs how you play the entire game, because you know that you're gunning towards trying to chord out this combo. It's also important sometimes to realize that what you're doing may shift. For instance, against Burn. Burn is a deck where you're often trying to chord out life gain and just stay alive. But sometimes the opportunity to combo off will present itself, and you need to, obviously be ready to shift into that. Sometimes it'll be the other way around. Like you'll be, trying to set up the combo, and you'll realize, or you're trying to be set up to chord for this life gain because that's just how the game seems to be going, and you realize that, oh, it's better if I just try to go for the combo and win that way. This is a really intricate deck. It's very difficult to play. If you're just sort of getting into Modern, I can't really recommend it. You need a lot of meta knowledge and knowledge about your opponent's decks to know how to sideboard with all these with everything going on. But it's a ton of fun. It's easily the most fun deck I've ever played in Modern, and I love it. It is amazingly fun. Our opponent is doing very well here. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. We didn't have the greatest hand to lead off on. Really hoped we could get is a Staticaster rolling. That would have stunted a lot of what's going on here, but we still definitely have a chance if we hit untap blue source now. Sure. This is an interesting card. Untap blue. Nope, that's not it. Now we're gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm pretty sure we're dead. Mogwai Marshal off the top of the deck. Snoop off the top of the deck. Yeah, we can't even draw into Plague Engineer here because we can't cast it. There's the Kiki for the combo. Oh, now you just win. Okay, you win. Alright, 1-1. I can't... KikiChord is definitely not, at the top of the Modern rankings. I think it definitely deserves more respect than it gets. But, I'm not going into this league expecting to go 5-0. We're certainly capable of it, but just being realistic here. I'm just also very curious to see how Yorion performs in the deck. If Yorion ever does anything. Like I said in the intro, I really don't feel like this deck loses very much, if anything, by running the Orion. So if I'm getting really any benefit from it, I'm pretty satisfied. But if I'm getting no benefit from it, then probably better just to go back down to 60. Even though our match against Mel was pretty much just strictly better to be running an extra 20 cards. This hand is fine. It's a bit strange. We have 3 mana dorks. Gavany Township is, like, it's always an awkward land in this, like, 5-color deck where you're trying to cast all these different colors of spells, but the effect is just so powerful. It takes over games sometimes that I really can't complain. The 60-card version I run 1. I went up to 2 for this version. I don't know if that's wrong. But it can really take over games that you would not be winning otherwise. We're going to have a bunch of mana dorks down here. Our opponent mulled to 5. Interesting. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen here. If this is blue-white control, what are we cording for against blue-white control? Could just be cord for voice. Probably just cast a Thragtusk, honestly. Stoneforge Mystic? Yeah, I think we just cast the Thragtusk. So this is also a situation where, like Gavany Townshipping is fine. Quarter calling for Selfless Spirit is definitely something we might do. Sort of Feast and Famine. I just want to make sure that... Yeah, Selfless Spirit is in our main deck. Okay. Okay, so I don't need Chord for Selfless Spirit now, but I want that option for future turns. What can I chord for on 3? Tracker, Eidolon, Fairgrounds Warden. I'll probably leave this open to hit the Night of Autumn at some point. I think I want to keep one chord for... I definitely want to keep one chord for the Selfless Spirit, because I'm expecting a Wrath. So I could just do nothing and activate Township. I could just chord for Eternal Witness and get my chord back. I don't hate it. What are we getting here against control? I don't think I think we're fine with... We could also just play the Thragtusk. That's probably the better play. It's so hard. Attack. Get in for 1. Yep, take damage. Cast the Thragtusk. Go! Turn 3 Thragtusk. Must be good. Mystic Gate. Okay. So our opponent is going to put the sword in end step, and I can't chord for the knight then, because I need to be concerned about the potential of Wrath. But if they then untap, equip, and attack, I think I still chord for it. They could have a thing. I could also just chord for the Selfless Spirit now. I'm not sure what the right way to go about doing this is. Maybe I shouldn't worry so much about Wrath because Spell Queller. Okay, so this is not blue-white control. So I don't need to worry about Wrath quite as much. In that case, what should I be doing instead? Sure. Now you're going to equip the Spell Queller. That's fine. Is it fine? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we can get you here. Ooh, you're not doing it. You're not attacking. Okay. So do I can like chord for Resto, blink the Thragtusk? Yeah, I like that. Fetch. Get like breeding pool. Done. Get, actually, I can do better than this. I can just win. Yes, please use. Gain 5 life, create a 3/3 beast, go to my turn. Chord. Green, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4. And like, I guess I should consider the possibility of Pact Force of Negation. But I think this is fine. Get Kiki. Kiki Resto. Cool. Cool. And this is what I'm saying, like, sometimes the opportunity combo just presents itself. Honestly, I completely forgot that was an option until I was kind of going through the motions. Okay, so Spell Queller. Okay. Kind of don't hate Stonehorde Dignitary in a deck that's trying to connect with swords. That seems fine. I don't hate Collector Roof in a deck with equipment. I don't hate Linvala against a deck with Stoneforge Mystic. I don't hate Keranos against in a matchup that's probably kind of grindy. I don't think Staticaster's hitting much. Evoker can hit equipment. I don't think Rhetoric needs to do anything. I don't think Wall of Omens. Wall of Omens can block a Stoneforge with Feast and Famine equipped, so that's fine. Do I want the Vanifar combo? That could be good. Could be good. Maybe I don't need Linvala. Nah, I'm kind of happy to have a white creature to block, though. So I think that's okay. Eldritch Revolution is really bad against Spell Queller. I think I should just cut all of those. In which case I need to bring another card back in. I think that card might be... I really want to know more about what exactly my opponent's deck is. Grim Lavamancer is a possibility. Like, it can shoot down a Stoneforge Mystic. Like, against Pure Spirits, I'd be pretty happy to have it. It can shoot down... gosh, I don't remember the names of all the spirits. Like the 1/1 that gets bigger when Spirit comes into play and it sacks to, like, sort of Spell Pierce. I'll try it. Reveal. Okay. 3 lands. This is a really weird set of creatures, though. This is a really weird set of creatures. I can't cast the Bounding Crasises. I'm just not doing anything until turn 4. We have to mulligan. This hand is... That's Restos and Thragtusks. I think we'll keep this. Put a Resto back. No. Man, I don't know what to put back here. I want to put Resto back, but Resto, like, depending on what exactly our opponent is, like, if our opponent is sort of spirits, then just having flying blockers is really good. I think it's just Thragtusk. It's going to be so long before we're able to start casting it, given that we're only on 2 lands. Like, we really need to get this Courser down and just be able to start doing stuff. This is good. Drawing a land is good, because now we'll be able to play the Courser. I might not cast it on 3. I might not cast it on 4 either, because I need to be worried about Spell Queller. Sure, you got a Stoneforge. Does straight up blue-eye control doesn't run Stoneforge, right? Maybe I was probably stupid of me to keep talking about Wraths and such. Sort of Fire and Ice this time. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna play this tapped, so that Courser can get triggers off both sides of the Wooded Foothill. Unfortunately, I expect our opponent to not cast anything here and represent Selfless or represent Spell Queller. And I think I should not run the Courser into that. Okay, well that's fine. I can run this into a Spell Queller. Sure. You got it. I mean, you were going to play it end step anyway. This also stops you from... actually, no, if you have land, you'd put it in, you could put the Spell Queller. Unless you don't have another land, but... okay, so... This is not ideal. Okay. What do we do about this? I guess not much. I think we just do this now. What do we want up? Does it matter? Probably a Stomping Ground. We have KikiChord on top of our deck. It's not exactly what we want. Although we do have KikiChord, we have 2 Restoration Angels in play, so there's some world where we get away with something. Just don't know what to do about this, though. This is a pain. Land lets us chord for Night of Autumn, which is probably the play. If we're on chording for just 2, unclear. Oust. Well, that's quite bad, because now it's on top of our deck and we wanted to draw something else. Yeah. Don't really know how we win this. Do you have a Batter Skull too? It's sort of Fire and Ice. Okay, I mean I can resto to... Alright, I'm kind of done here. Can equip target my own creatures? The equipped ability can only target a creature you control. Okay. So Spellskite didn't really seem to be something that would work out there. Okay, I think I'm kind of okay with where we're at. I think Wall of Omens is probably not where we want to be at. Maybe bring in Thrun. Well, seems kind of okay. Yes, I would like to go first. 5 lands. Bounding Graces Vanifar. Seems not good enough. This is fine. This Revelark is expensive. It does fly, though. Don't think it can possibly be anything else, though. Okay, we're going to get a Temple Garden. We're going to play our Birds of Paradise. Next turn we have Wall of Roots, then the turn after that, at least shall I? That's fine, I guess. It's an aggressive oust. Ooh. Okay, so we're going to draw Birds of Paradise, but we can chord for 2. Do we want to chord for 2? Or we can play a Shalai. Shalai seems good. Getting Shalai under Spell Queller seems very good. Sure. Yeah. Okay. So what do we do now? Also, did I not bring in Plague Engineer? I didn't bring in Plague Engineer, did I? It's kind of a weird decision against the Spirits deck. Sure, I mean, okay, you do that. I guess that makes sense to do. An Aether Vial. Okay, okay. I don't hate courting for a Phyrexian Revoker. Would kind of like my Shalai back. Oh, well, there's a Phyrexian Revoker. I think we should play that. Chord for 2. Yeah, okay. How important is it to hit the Aether Vial, though? Like, they only have 2 cards in hand. Like, the turn 3 Aether Vial is, like, way more anemic. I don't even know if it's good. I almost feel like I want to hit, like, Sword of Fire and Ice. Sword of Feast and Famine? Sword of Fire and Ice. No, Sword of Sword of Fire and Ice. Sword of Fire and Ice. I really just don't care about the Aether Vial. Okay, so next turn I'm going to draw Shalai. But I'm going to have access to chord for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to have access to chord for 4. Chord for 4. Spectral Saber. If you have a Drogskull Captain, that's really irritating. That's a Drogskull Captain. Okay. Think about cording for Grim Lavamancer. Alternatively, I get my Shalai and I just activate it a bunch. I think Shalai is pretty good. My opponent's empty-handed. Like, if the if there's another Drogskull Captain, it's really bad. Because, like, my opponent can sack the Self Spirit to protect the Drogskull Captain. So it's not even that good. Yeah, I'm just going to draw this Shalai. Do you have something? No, you're empty-handed. Of course you have nothing. Resetting Phyrexian Revoker on the Spectral Sailor would be really nice, though. I can chord for... I can't chord it on a triple green. That was a reason to do things slightly differently. Yeah, I could have left chord for 2 open. Sure. Okay. Okay. This is gonna be kind of rough. It's gonna be kind of rough. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can chord for anything. I could just play the Temple Garden and leave up Activate Shalai. Don't hate that. I could chord for Resto to name Spectral Sailor. I kind of think I want to chord now before my opponent can be violating spirits into play. So I need to leave 2 mana open. So I'm going to add colorless. I need to go for 4. Unfortunately, this is silly the way this works. Pay green, tap this, pay green. X is currently 2. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I really want to do this? I'm really not sure what I'm supposed to do here. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead with this. We'll have a blocker back, so I don't think the Drogskull Captain will attack. there anything else that's better now that I'm looking? Oh, Linvala kind of accomplishes the same thing. I actually like Linvala better. Vannifar is also a consideration. But I like Linvala better here. Good thing I looked. And Linvala has hexproof, so things are good. Things are good. I like this. I like this situation. If my opponent finds another Drogskull Captain, they could attack for 10. But then I would block the Drogskull Captain. Next turn I would have a lot of flying blockers up. Yeah, I think I'm in a fine position here. There's definitely things that could happen that suck. Sort of Feast and Famine would probably be the worst one. It's not even that bad. It would take like 5. But like my opponent can't sack the Selfless Spirit, they can't... yeah, this is not even relevant. I think I'm just going to activate Shalai. It is hilarious because Wall of Roots adds -0, -1 counters, and Shalai will add +1/+1 counters. So we're going to have multiple counters coexisting on this Wall of Roots. It's kind of silly. Another Mausoleum Wanderer. Sure. I don't expect attacks here. Okay, so add green. Activate you. Start pumping. Just gonna do this every turn. Gavany Township lets me do it cheaper. Yeah. And this is when, I mean, I have the Shalai that does the same thing, but this is just sort of an example of what Gavany Township can do. I'm doing it with the Shalai instead, but it's fine. I don't know how my opponent gets out of this. I guess first they have to oust, but I'm still going to have a bunch of flying blockers, and they're going to be 2/3s this turn. Sure. This is making things kind of scary. Because these creatures are pretty big now. But I think I still have pretty profitable blocks, and I don't, it's just a matter if you can alpha strike me for lethal, which when you throw my birds into the mix, I don't think you can do. I haven't like fully walked through the combat math though, but and like you're not gonna have a wrath or anything. Do I even play Fairgrounds Warden? Don't think it makes much sense to. Maybe it does, actually. Yeah, no, it definitely does. Yep, target that. It's just, it gets rid of a Lord, and it's a hexproof Fairgrounds Warden, so it's not going away anytime soon. I trade off my ability to Township for a turn, but that's okay. Because I shrunk your whole team by 1/1. You got another Supreme Phantom. Okay. I mean, we're gonna play this for another like 10 turns probably. I'm just. I don't know. Maybe I'm not favored in a long game here, because my opponent is just gonna get to alpha me at some point. If I play, I'm still short. So I think, actually, I mean, I have 4 blockers for 4. Actually, I think it is better for me to play to the board right now. Because I want to start attacking. Because I need to end the game. I think I am actually kind of not favored in the long game. Because my opponent is going to keep drawing cards that are going to be able to fly over my creatures. And at a certain critical mass, they're going to be able to alpha me for lethal. And so I need to I need to take it. I need to be the beatdown deck right now. And one way I can do that is with Thrun. Like I can pump up my Birds of Paradise larger than their spirits, in all likelihood. But that doesn't matter when I can only block 4 things. This is scary. So I really can't trade this with Linvala. Because I can't let my opponent be drawing cards with Spectral Sailor. I really don't want to trade it with Shalai. If I take 6, I go to 8. I still have 4 blockers. 2 things get through. I think I take this for 1 turn. Oh, wait, no. I can block with Shalai. I can block with Linvala and Pump. I have enough. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. No, I don't have enough. So I think I take this for 1 turn. I go to 8. Discarding card is irrelevant. Untapping your lands is probably irrelevant. Sure. Okay. This does make attacking with Thrun useless, unfortunately. But now I can make Shalai bigger than the attacking Selfless Spirit. I can also play another flying threat on the board and start pumping it. It's also pro-blue, which is pretty good. That's really irritating. I might just have to throw the Scrib Ranger in front of the Selfless Spirit here. You're going to have 7 attackers to my 4 flying blockers? Now I think I need to trade off Shalai. That's really unfortunate. Unless it's Linvala. There's no way it's Linvala. I also can't jump with the birds because it's going to have per green. Otherwise, that would definitely be the play. Well, would it? Then I would only have 3 flying blockers to your 7 attackers. You're equipping it to a Mausoleum Wanderer. Okay. I think I'm in jumping mode here. No. I trade off a Shalai and a birds to kill the Shalai. No, I can't block with the birds. I really can't jump. Well, this is unfortunate. I thought I was doing really well here. But I'm pretty far behind at this point, I think. Like, my opponent was pretty lucky to draw 3 Supreme Phantoms. Like, I think my opponent definitely drew lucky here. Start cards. Sure. Chord. Does Chord win? Probably doesn't straight up win, but... Well, I'll just keep pumping. I do have a pro-blue creature, which is good. That is useless. My opponent now has 6 attackers to my 4 flying blockers. But I can make profitable blocks. Well, no, I can't. Yes, I can. Well, it depends if my opponent draws a spirit, really. Kind of teetering on the edge here. Sort of Feast and Famine was a really frustrating top deck for my opponent. What can I do here? Eternal Witness is a good top deck, because I can Eternal Witness for Chord to hit... Oh, also I can be putting Yorion in my deck, in my hand. I forgot I had a Yorion. I probably punted that really hard somewhere back along the way. Yeah, that was a punt. Because Yorion would even let me... Yorion would let me reset the Phyrexian Revoker. Well... No, this doesn't really matter what you're getting. If you're getting a Sword of Fire and Ice, it can't be activated. If you're getting a Batterskull, I can blank that with the Thrun. Actually, well, putting Batterskull on... Okay, I guess you don't have Batterskull. You can't activate the Sword of Fire and Ice. Sure. Yeah, see, the problem really is that my opponent's drawing a ton of cards now. Yorion is a flying blocker, though, so this is very relevant. This is very relevant. Also kind of getting low on time. Crazy match. That's very interesting. No, that's completely irrelevant. So I can still activate this, yep. So I'll put Yorion in my hand. Okay. 6 attackers, 4 blockers. Sure. Okay. Can't attack here. I mean, I think if my opponent gets one more Lord, they win. This looks like a draw card. Sure, sure. And they can put their lords in with the Aether Vial. I'm pretty sure there was a point where I could have put my Yorion in play earlier. Probably punted this. Sure, it's Sword of Fire and Ice you can't equip. This is a very strange game. Still definitely hanging on okay. That's very relevant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You spend 5 for this, so this is just a birds. It's a blocker. It's what I needed to do. It will block. That could be really bad. Okay. Could have eaten my Birds of Paradise. So now you have 7 attackers to my 5 blockers. Holding on by a thread. Okay. Okay. I think I'm now dead. Oh, I gained life, though. I gained some life. So I'm still on 4 blockers for 7 attackers, so 3 things get through. So a 3, a 3, and a 4 can go through, and I live at 1. And I can block... Well, Selfless Spirit still exists. So I guess I just lose the Selfless Spirit. Although nothing can block the thing with the Sword of Fire and Ice on it. Or the Sword of Feast and Famine. Yeah, I think this is lethal. Can this block this? I can't block that. So I would do something like this. Something like this. And I would try to eat these. That's 11 damage. Yeah, I can't block this 5. Nothing blocks it. Bounding Crisis doesn't help. Yep. That's gonna be it for me. Dang it. It was going well. It was going very well. I don't know about the courting for Linvala. I don't know. I wonder if, with this being a Yorion deck, if I want to run Fiend Hunter instead of Fairgrounds Warden. Because if you assemble Yorion Resto Fiend Hunter, you get the blink every turn, but Fiend Hunter gets to just straight up exile every turn. I think is how that works. You need to step through that. Alright. New match, new day. This is fine. This is fine. Renegade Rallier can ramp us. This is one of the cool things that Renegade Rallier can do with a fetch land. It's possible we also want to Eldritch Evolution into something. We can also... Ooh, we can Renegade Rallier... Okay. This is a cool hand. We're just playing like the token stuff, I guess. Okay, so that's not really a thing. Okay, so this turn, yeah, no, we're playing Renegade Rally this turn. So we're playing this. We're fetching. I think we can just fetch a basic land because we're just gonna get this back. Then we're gonna play the Renegade Rallier, and because our fetch land left the battlefield this turn, we get the fetch back into play. And then we can crack it. I think I'll get a, no, I might just get Forest again. And I can play a Birds of Paradise. And we're actually not far off of Resto, because we can Resto Blink the Renegade Rallier. You exiled Servo Exhibition, okay. Because you can get +1/+1. Okay. This is a thing. Okay, so next turn, so I'm going to go to 14. Next turn I can Resto, Blink you, get a land back, and then the turn after I can Evolution. I can almost just win next turn. No, I can win next turn. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is turn 4 combo. This is not something this deck does often. Yeah, so we're gonna fetch. We're gonna get, doesn't matter. Temple Garden. Yes. We're going to do this. Green, white, green. We're going to blink the Renegade Rallier. Yes. We're going to get back a Windswept Teeth. We're going to crack this. We're going to get Plains is fine. Then we're going to cast this. Why is the... We're going to cast this. We're going to sacrifice this. We're going to get our KikiChord. And we're going to make a lot of angels. Whee! That was a turn 3 combo. That was really turn 3? Turn 1 I went birds. Turn 2 I went... land, Renegade Rally, get a land back, birds. Wow. I have never comboed with this deck on turn 3. I don't even know if I've comboed with this deck on turn 4, and maybe not even turn 5. That does not happen. That does not happen often. That's really something. Okay. So as far as this deck, though, this is the sort of deck I want Stonehorde Dignitary against. I feel like Wall of Omens is not going to cut it. I don't think Idle of Rhetoric is where I want to be at. Like, Plague Engineer probably has to do. I think I'm trying to combo out here. So I think I leave the Vannifar stuff in. I don't think Phyrexian Revoker really does anything. I think... Grim Lavamancer might be able to shoot some stuff down. I think this game is not about card advantage with Tireless Tracker. I think I just want things that can block Flying Spirits efficiently. Meddling Mage might actually be okay. No, I don't think I want Meddling Mage. Let's try this. This is a weird hand. I mean, I go turn 1 birds. It's possible that I could go turn 2 Staticaster, but I would probably have to... I think that's okay, though. Oh, I won. You're on the play. Okay, this is a lot worse. This is a lot worse. Well, it's worse in some ways and better in some ways. Because I get an extra draw at land. If I draw any land here, I'm pretty happy. If I have to wait until turn 3 to get the Staticaster out, it's likely too late. Well, my opponent doesn't seem to have force. Otherwise, they would have played it. Unless they, like, really wanted all the cards in their hand, but that seems unlikely. Yeah. So I really need a land. Good. Good, 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 good. 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 Okay. So this is the blue and this is the red. So I can get anything with this. Probably Temple Garden because I have Linvala in play. Although maybe it's Sacred Foundry. Double white and a third red. I think it is. It is actually. It is very rare that you ever want to fetch a non-green land with this deck. But it does happen. And I run 1. Yes, I would like to keep this. So I think I want to do this now. The only thing I stand to gain is by if they play a second Servo Exhibition, and I think that's unlikely enough that I just do this now. Yeah, okay, so we're sort of cleaning up a bit. If they play a Force, then this is how it gets a lot worse, but they would have played that before. If they have a Glorious Anthem, then I'm pretty, yeah, so this Intangible Virtue kind of shuts all this off, but I killed a pair of servos. That's something. That's something. Resto can combine with the Staticaster to do some fun stuff. I think here I play Eternal Witness just to get a land back, and I can play Noble Hierarch. I'm kind of powered up. I'm at 12 already, though. I am at 12. Yes. Play this. Crack it. Get a forest. Play the Noble Hierarch. Okay. Okay. We're doing things. We're doing things. So Resto can combine with Staticaster to get 2 pings in a turn. And then I also just have access to Kiki, which can win the game, in theory. Resto might also blink Eternal Witness to get a land back. That's fine. I guess you're going to gain 2 life. So I'm not going to trade it with the Eternal Witness. I will block with the Staticaster. Staticaster is an 0-3. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I think we just want to do this. And then cast this. Blink this. Yes. Shoot this. Play this. And attack for 3. Okay. This is going pretty well. This is going pretty well. I was definitely skeptical that his Staticaster was going to get too much done, because they have so many Anthem effects, but if you can get one shot off before the first Anthem and then another one with Resto, I've also just got blockers handy. There's definitely some really scary draws that this deck has. Path Staticaster, sure. I'm actually pretty happy to get a land. Because I'm just going to get a... No, I'll get the mountain. I have KikiChord in my hand. All right. 2 and 2. 2 and 2. Yeah. KikiChord, I think, is a solid. You can definitely expect to go 3 and 2 with KikiChord. It's not a 1/4 deck by any means. Despite you may think having never heard of it before, but I mean, our losses, like, we lost to Spirits, but like that was a very close game. So that's fine. I'll update my stream title. KikiChord. Not playing with Resurrection anymore. I was very happy with those Resurrection. I will definitely be revisiting that deck. This hand is kind of anemic, but anemic just describes a lot of KikiChord hands. It's like, yeah, I'm going to play a Burrs, I'm going to play a Voice. I'll chord for something, I don't really know what. If my opponent is doing something like super proactive, I'm kind of not in a great spot. But if you're not like running Thoughtseize.deck or Counterspells.deck, you can only be so reactive. Scalding Tarn. Death Shadow? Okay. Voice? Definitely want to be aware of Stubborn Denial in Force Spike mode. Just gonna get like Watery Grave and Opt. Steam Vents. Tapped. Could still be Death Shadow. Could be some sort of Jeskai control. Okay, Jeskai control looking more likely, or maybe some sort of Jeskai tempo, Mantis Rider deck. Lightning Helix. Okay. We have no red, no blue. I think I actually want blue. Restoration Angel. What can we E for 4? Vanifar. Okay. What does the into Vanifar actually do for us, though? Doesn't actually get us the win next turn. Although it definitely freaks our opponent out. I wish I could resto this turn, though. I guess I should attack. I definitely don't think this is like control. Well, control could be running Lightning Helix. Control probably would be running. Control would definitely be running Lightning Helix main deck. What am I saying? Is it worth thinking chord for a 1 or a 0? It's worth considering. I mean, if we were like, let's definitely play I've made when I'm short on lands. But we have a Temple Garden in play. We have a combo piece in Restoration Angel and another way to find a combo piece in Eldritch Evolution. Not very, but it depends a lot on the matchup. It depends just kind of on what's going on. I also don't have zeros, so recording for 0 is probably not the move. It's a good chance we can ambush our opponent with a Restoration Angel here. I also definitely should have put Yorion into my hand last game. I'm playing 80 card Yorion KikiChord. In case you missed the Yorion, because I've noticed it. You know, I've actually never considered putting Dryad Arbor into the deck, and I probably should at least consider it. It's... I don't know. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting question. A lot of my hesitation in this situation is I don't exactly know what my opponent's on. I guess Mantis Rider gives me a pretty good idea of what they're trying to do. They're probably running Spell Quellers, which means this Resto Angel's probably going to get Spell Quellered, but I have to try it. Spell Queller's 4 or less, right? Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, well, I'll get something. I can get Mountain so I can cast Kiki off Firelit Thicket. Yeah, I think Mountain's fine. Don't need to do that. I'll take 3. Delver. Okay, well, that's telling. Okay, so what am I doing here? Ooh, Shalai is good. I like a Shalai. Yep, that seems like the play. I could... Can't Eldritch Evolution, so I'm just going to play this. Tapped. Pass. Yeah, hey Henry, what's up? How's it going? I'm playing mid-rangey modern stuff today. I went 4-1 with Eldrazi-tron, which is pretty sweet. My only loss there was the mirror. Currently 2-2 with KikiChord. I lost a really long, really grueling match against Spirits, which was kind of sad. They got a sort of Feast and Famine and like 4 Lords in play. I had a Gavney Township and like 4 Flyers, so I was pumping my team about as quickly as they were playing all these Lords. But the sort of Feast and Famine just kind of eventually got through all my... Because a lot of my Flyers were green, because I just had a bunch of Birds of Paradise I was pumping up. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, I played a little Jumpstart in Arena. It was... I definitely enjoyed it. Okay, so at this point, I think I can think about going for the combo. I actually might just be able to... Can I combo off now? Because I can EE... I can Eldritch Evolution... Voice into a Restoration Angel. So this is the Eldritch Evolution, and then I have the Resto and the Voice token, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I can't quite get the Kiki. But I can also... I could also Evolution Shalai into a Kiki. Kiki makes a Voice. That still doesn't work. Evolution Shalai into Kiki. Kiki copy Voice. That only has 6 things. But then I can chord for Bounding Crisis, because that's a card that I have in my deck. Yeah, that works. I am positive this works, right? This, Shalai, Kiki copy Voice, 6, chord for 3, Bounding Crisis. Bounding Crisis and taps Kiki. Yeah, okay. Doesn't matter what I get here. I'll get Overgrown Tomb, just tell my opponent I have black in my deck, because LOL. Green, white, green. Sacrifice Shalai. I guess my opponent could have like Force of Negation? Ooh. Okay. Okay, I didn't really consider this line. Okay. So that happened. Okay. Well, that's a problem. I think now maybe I need a chord for Fairgrounds Warden to eat a Mantis Rider. And hope the Delver doesn't flip. Yeah, I really wasn't considering Force Negation. Is there anything better on 3 I would want to get? Tournament is for... Nope. Fairgrounds Warden. Fairgrounds Warden. Yeah, Fairgrounds Warden it is. Target a Mantis Rider. I was planning on drafting today, but then I noticed I've been taking all the clips of my stream and posting them onto a YouTube channel. I made a new YouTube channel that I think, have I linked it on my Twitch page? I should actually check. My YouTube is not linked on my Twitch page. I should fix that. Yeah, I've been uploading all my drafts and leagues and stuff to my YouTube, a new YouTube that I made for this. And I've been noticing that the Pioneer, like, I don't get very many views because like nobody knows who the hell I am. But I've been noticing that the Pioneer and the modern stuff I've been uploading gets way more views than my just random arena drafts. Nothing blocks flying. I'm just dead here. So I was gonna draft today, but I decided since all those videos are getting way more views, I should do some Pioneer modern stuff. How easy to get blue mana in this deck? Deputy Detention over Warden. Yeah, I have not played this deck on MTGO in a long time. This is actually the very first time I'm playing with the Yorion. So a lot of this stuff is really out of date. Like this Eidolon of Rhetoric really should not be main deck anymore. That was kind of for when Storm used to be more popular online, and so it was kind of main deck for that. It also hit like KCI. That was a thing. It does a lot of random stuff against a lot of decks. It's effective against any sort of Snapcaster deck, any sort of Cascade. Like people used to play Living End more, and so it would stop the Living End Cascade. So like the Eidolon should go. The Phyrexian Revoker should probably go. This whole Prime Speaker Vanifar thing is a little package that I'm not really sure about, because you have to run kind of crummy stuff like Scrib Ranger. But like, I mean, this is modern. You run in a fetch line, just like fetching out a breeding pool is pretty easy. Birds, taps for blue. It's like it's just. All right, what am I doing? I feel like Spellskite could be okay. Kitchen Finks might be okay. I don't know too much about what threats my opponent is running besides Mantis Rider and Delver. This makes me want just like anything that flies, kind of. But otherwise I think I just kind of want to get lower to the ground. Like I don't think I need this Ragtusk. Vanifar is probably slowing me down. I don't think I really need that stuff. Magus of the Moon could be decent. I just really hate bringing Magus in against decks that aren't like straight up Tron decks. Milling Mage, maybe, just because it's cheaper. Sure. It is definitely hilarious that like you're trying to fetch out triple red in a deck that like I mean, what red is there in this deck? Is a Staticaster. It's like a couple of sideboard cards, and even like some of these I'm not sure of. Avalanche Red I'm very unsure of, and then yeah, triple red on Kiki. It is very funny. This has a path, which is cool, but 5 lands is pretty not good. So 1 land birds against a deck. It's going to be running bolts, so I don't think I can keep this either. This is also a 1-lander with no birds. My opponent is on 6. Yeah, oof indeed. I wonder if I should go up a land, because extending the 60 card ratio I had to 80, I think I was supposed to run like 30 and 2/3 lands, and so I think I'm on 30, but maybe I should add a 31 in. I'm definitely not like hungering for things to do with mana, especially when I have Yorion. I should probably do that. This hand needs to hit multiple lands to do anything even remotely good. Scavenging Ooze is just not going to be great against Mantis Riders. Neither is Wall of Omens. Wall of Omens at least like kind of draws me to another land. I just don't know what 4 cards I could possibly be drawing to that would be even remotely okay. I guess I keep. Probably just put the 2 4-mana cards at the bottom. Actually, I think I put Is it Staticaster back, because this Misty is going to get Temple Garden, which doesn't tap for blue or red. And then I think I put the Linvala back. Manadork and Schley. I mean, was that just like something I could draw on this hand, or because like the previous hand was a 1-land birds hand, which I just can't keep against a deck that's going to be running bolts and helixes and stuff. I don't remember what my 7-card hand was, honestly. There's that for my 4-card hand. I mean, certainly there are 4-card hands I could have that were better than what I was going to do. But like, you're not necessarily going to get them. I don't know. It's sort of a like no good options situation. Stoneforge, okay, that makes sense. I'm honestly feeling kind of vindicated. Way back when they unbanned Stoneforge, like I definitely said that I felt like unbanning Stoneforge was a mistake, and everybody kind of laughed at me because they unbanned Stoneforge and nobody played it. But I just think the ability to just put like 4 Stoneforge and a Sword of Fire and Ice and a Batterskull in like any deck with white mana in it is just really powerful. And I feel like you're seeing that a lot in Modern now. Like a lot of people are just doing this. In the same way that like back in the days of Twin, you can just put in like 4 Deceiver Exarch and 3 Twin and your deck is just better. A lot of decks now I think you can just put in 4 Stoneforge and a Batterskull and Sword of Fire and Ice and your deck is just better. So I have a Knight of Autumn, so I can hit the sword, so that's cool. I kind of want to just like Meddling Mage Mantis Rider or something. I don't know what else I'm doing this turn. I could just play Scavenging Ooze, but it's accomplishing absolutely nothing. The other issue is at some point my opponent can Stoneforge. They got Sword of Fire and Ice, right? Yeah. At some point my opponent can Stoneforge. Like on turn 4, my opponent could Stoneforge and Sword of Fire and Ice, equip it to the Delver, and get in one turn, and, like, maybe kill my Scavenging Ooze. So Knight of Autumn isn't actually even necessarily a great answer to it. But I also can't Meddling Mage a Sword of Fire and Ice. So maybe I just do nothing. If there were a creature in some graveyard that I could eat with Scavenging Ooze to grow it out of the Sword of Fire and Ice. But as is, I think I'd just sit here. As weird as that may sound. That's stupid. This my opponent's playing a tempo game. I can't just sit back and do nothing. But yeah, I mean, Batterskull definitely makes Stoneforge way better. Like, yeah, if you ban Batterskull, I definitely don't have a problem with Stoneforge. There is also the issue of them, like, printing powerful equipment. I think Batterskull is kind of in a very unique class of its own, though, where, like, an equipment that brings the creature along with it is... I mean, it's not like it breaks a fundamental rule of Magic or anything, but it's really good. I think I want blue mana for the Meddling Mage. I don't know why I just paid 2 life. That was terrible. It's just it gets around one of the fundamental, like, disadvantages of equipment, that equipment does nothing if you don't have a creature. But when you just give players the creature to go with the equipment, yeah. So now I'm in the situation where they're gonna put in the Sword of Fire and Ice and then equip it to their Delver and hit me and kill my Scavenging Ooze, which I can't do anything about. Unfortunately. So I think I just keep playing stuff out of my hand. Is I attack with Scavenging Ooze. Yep. Oh, you put a Batterskull. Oh, dear. Okay, well. Okay, should have done this. Oh, you also didn't block. What? Okay, that was interesting. So first of all, I really should have done this post-combat, because then I could have Knight of Autumn to kill the Batterskull. But also, why did my opponent not block? Kind of confused. I mean, really, I really don't know why my opponent didn't just put the Sword of Fire and Ice in play and then equip... Like, equipping an Insectile Aberration with a Sword of Fire and Ice and killing a Scavenging Ooze seems like a really good line. And they didn't even attack with the Batterskull. And I couldn't have killed it because my Scavenging Ooze was tapped. Which means I really don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Like, ideally I play the Knight of Autumn, smash the Batterskull, and then next turn I get to resto the Knight of Autumn, smash the Sword of Fire and Ice that's presumably coming into play. But I'm considering not doing that because if my opponent is just going to attack with a Naked Delver again, I can eat it with the resto. And blink the Wall of Omens to draw a card. But if my opponent puts a Sword of Fire and Ice on it, like I was expecting them to do, then that's a really bad line. If I Knight of Autumn smash the Batterskull, my opponent can do the same line I've been talking about where they put the Sword of Fire and Ice on the Delver, and then kill my Knight of Autumn, so that I can't blink it. But then I at least get the Batterskull off the table, which I kind of need to do. I just don't have an answer to a Delver wearing a sword. If I don't have an answer to it, I guess maybe I just don't play as if I have an answer to it. So I think I smashed the Batter Skull, and just hope my opponent doesn't make this play that seems like the best thing they could possibly do. They can also have, like, counterspells, of course. Sure. I mean, I get a free 4/4, that's kind of cool. I can also actually eat something with that Scavenging Goose now. Okay. Well, now I can trade this elemental that you so kindly gave me with your germ token. That seems entirely reasonable. A braid. Okay, well, I still want to gain life. My opponent is kind of choked on mana. Oh, that also shrinks the elemental. Okay. I was thinking about also blocking with the voice, but I didn't consider that I would need to do that. Okay, well. Now I just need to... Now I get to eat the Delver, but now I have to deal with the Germ token somehow. Let's see if this resto even resolves. Might not resolve. No, okay, okay. We'll draw a card. Sure, fine. Yes. I want, I guess, more green mana, maybe? I will do this, because I would like to draw a card. Okay, okay. I think I have to chump this. I would like to keep voice around because it's kind of getting me some advantages if my opponent is ever trying to counter my stuff. Sleight of hand, sure. See, now I can go Revelark. Revelark will get me back Scavenging Ooze and Wall of Omens when it dies, if I live long enough to have it die. Are we bolting me? Just cantripping, okay. Yeah, I love Revelark. Like Revelark dying, getting back an Eternal Witness, Eternal Witness getting back the Revelark, and you get back like a Scavenging Ooze or something. It's just amazing. Okay, so we cast a Revelark. Unless my opponent is running Pacifism, it is going to leave the battlefield. Okay. Hopefully trade. Get an elemental that can actually grow up to being a 4/4 maybe. So this is going to get back... Oh, I could get back voice with this. Ooh. Yeah, I think I want to get back voice. Do I want to... Which of these three cards do I want to get back? I feel like I need more than what I have now to win, so I think I should get the wall back just for a card. That deck was hilarious and amazing and just everything. This is a card. Okay. Hope that doesn't flip. Probably will. Okay, that's very interesting. So should I Meddling Mage, like... What do I do here? I have 6 mana. If I'm going to play Eidolon of Rhetoric, I need to make sure it's the last thing I play. I could play Spellskite Eidolon. I don't think there's much point in playing Meddling Mage and Spellskite, because anything that I might name with Meddling Mage I can probably redirect to Spellskite. The thing I'm scared of is this Delver that's already on board. I don't think Noble Hierarch really counts for much, so I think it's Eidolon Spellskite. And I have to play Spellskite first. So, okay. Yeah, I mean... I just don't even know what I would name with Meddling Mage. I mean, I could pick, like, Mantis Rider or something. But, like... I don't know. I'm also interested in stopping Lightning Bolts and Lightning Helixes and plenty of other stuff, I'm sure. Okay. So now I'm dead to Delver flipping. I assume you're targeting me. Now I'm dead to Delver flipping. I probably need to start attacking just to, like, win the game before I die. Also, my opponent has conveniently given me a pair of 6/6s, which is kind of cool. And that's a flip Delver. So I lose. And my opponent has a Mantis Rider. Okay. Well, that's KikiChord.